Hello, I'm Rashawn Gidwani for NewsX World. Today is a momentous day in history. I'm here at the ITC Moria. It's the 5th of March, 2026. Like I said, momentous day in history. I'm seated across Honorable Premier of Saskatchewan, the western part of Canada. He is none other than the Premier Scott Moe. Like I just mentioned, momentous day in history, he was accompanying the PM of Canada, who was in New Delhi recently to meet Narendra Modi, the PM of India, to essentially discuss economic ties and bilateral cooperation. Two initiatives and two developments in this story are the Pulse Protein Center of Excellence, which is being explored, and of course, the uranium deal. Sir, I believe congratulations are in order. This is a huge deal. Please tell me more.
It's a huge step forward, I think, for not only the province where I hail from, Saskatchewan, but my nation of Canada and India. And really, we had an opportunity. I had an opportunity to be part of the meeting between Prime Minister Carney and Prime Minister Modi. And, not only were relations warm, but they certainly were intentional with what the next steps look like and what are the building blocks that we can, build on to deepen this relationship. So it's a great week.
Yeah, fantastic. You mentioned the building blocks there. What essentially separated the previous deal that essentially expired to now? What do you believe were the ingredients to make this deal come true and essentially be established now? What went into that process?
On the uranium?
Yes.
Yeah, on the uranium deal. So Cameco had delivered uranium to India from 2015 to 2020 through a previous, they call it a nuclear cooperation agreement. We had been working with various entities, the Department of Atomic Energy and others in India to renew that deal, dating back to about 2018, 2019. And just through the relations that our country had, we weren't able to get to fruition to it until today, which I think is the positive. Just this past week it was announced, but it's the culmination of a lot of work by Cameco, our uranium mining company in Saskatchewan, the largest company. I would say the government of Saskatchewan has been involved in that work, and I would say more recently the government of Canada has been actively involved not only in ensuring that energy security deal, which is what it is for India, and a partnership with Canada and Cameco and Saskatchewan, was able to come to fruition. And I think that is very much an example of a building block that we can now expand our trade and expand that relationship to other areas of not only our economy, but our countries.
Yeah, billion-dollar deal, 10-year deal. 2027 to 2035. Again, congratulations. Let's discuss further developments. An MOU to promote bilateral technical cooperation in solar and wind between Canada and India has also been signed. Talk to me about renewable energy and how you feel that this is so vital for all economies and countries across the world moving forward.
Sure. With respect to solar and wind, what that can do in a low emission way is drive your costs down, drive your emissions down. But it's not a base load power source, and it needs to be a mix that's in the conversation. Some solar, some wind, and then looking to base load options like nuclear power, of which this uranium deal is foundational on. Now, there might be opportunities for us to discuss and collaborate on technologies, nuclear technologies moving forward. Cameco has their own nuclear technology, for an example, that we're looking at in our province. But certainly there's other, electricity sources in a world that is very hungry for electricity, for data centers and AI build-outs and industries that are employing people and creating the raw elements that we ultimately need as a global society. And so wind and solar are part of that conversation, and what the role they play is not one of base power, but is actually driving the cost of electricity down, which matters, and keeping our emissions low, which also matters.
We discussed energy security just now. Let's move on to food security. The creation of a center of excellence for pulse proteins is now being explored between India and Canada. Talk to me if you have any intel about the future of the agri-food business.
This is exciting. This is really exciting in the way, the end result, I think, is really delivering on one of the commitments that Prime Minister Modi's government has to provide, a higher protein level or better nutrition to students, to pregnant mothers, to lactating mothers. So really a maternal health and youth nutritional commitment that the Modi government has. And this is where we're able to take, innovation and resources that we have in Saskatchewan, like agricultural land, pulse production. We do have some protein fractionation and some refining resources. And then take the expertise that India has in scaling up that type of production practice in a significant way to literally provide, proper nutrition to hundreds of millions of people that need it. And so, herein lies the opportunity to further integrate some of the strengths that we have in Canada, some of the scaling at pace strengths that we see in India and so many industries, and really benefit, people not just in India, but build a model that'll benefit people in other areas of the world. And this is what's exciting, I think, about the changed relationship or the changed relations and the new beginning, I think, that we see between our respective countries at the national level, followed up by, we've always been engaged at the subnational level, but now we have, industries and people that are really going to bring this together and make it real.
Yeah, essentially it acts as a bridge between these two nations, right? Fantastic. Now let's move on. Let's talk about the energy and agri files. They essentially point to potash as a critical element for sustainable food production. Talk to me about what your plans are to further enhance potash production.
So I'm going to save you from any embarrassment if this is seen back in my home province, and it's potash. Potash is
potash.
It's potash. I don't know what potash.
The pronunciation is wrong. Potash. Got it.
And it's the really the pink mineral that brings life to agriculture, along with some other nutrients as well. Saskatchewan is provides about 35% of global supply in potash, about 20% in uranium, so significant there as well. Very significant when you consider there's about 1.25 million people that live in the province. But potash has really been the mainstay of our mining industry, the backbone of our mining industry. We're expanding into other products, diversifying as we move forward. But potash still is very much employing many people in Saskatchewan, allows us to be in places like India and be part of their food security supply chain, part of their nutritional security supply chain. And we do that for, whether it's pulses, canola, potash, uranium. We do that for over 160 countries around the world. Our third largest trading partner is India as a province of Saskatchewan. So it's, again, just another touch point where we are part of the food security supply chain in a larger way than just delivering, agri-food products like pulse products to India. We actually produce some of the building blocks of Indian agriculture, and through that partnership and that relationship, we're able to expand that. And we have, the largest potash mine in the world is being built as we speak. The largest one that's operational today is in Saskatchewan. Second largest is in Saskatchewan. And so we're a significant producer today and a significant partner, I think, with India and other countries as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Brilliant. Lots to look forward to. Now, I've also heard you mention that Saskatchewan has a diverse set of products. What do you believe these products are, and how will you continue to plan to export them to the rest of the world, including India? Yeah,
and we export. We're one of the highest per capita areas of export in North America, if not the highest. And it's products like agri-food products. They're the basis of our economy. And historically, that's what Saskatchewan has been known for. You add to that potash, you add to that uranium. Now we see other products coming on. We're very blessed with natural resources and with the people that are developing and adding value to those resources. But now we have copper, we have helium, we have lithium, we have alumina find just most recently. And then one of the other base industries that we have is we're a significant oil and gas producer as well, likely the second largest in the nation next to Alberta. And so, as I say, our province is blessed with a rich array of natural resources. But even more important than that, we're blessed with some remarkable people that are able to go out and add value to those resources, and in turn become part of the energy and food security supply chains for over 160 countries around the world. And that's something that we take very seriously, being a long-term, sustainable, trustworthy, trusted supplier. And it's something that we engage on in India on multiple occasions.
I'm glad you brought up oil there. Let's dial right into the situation in the world right now. Oil supplies as it stands today are threatened by escalated tensions in the Middle East. Talk to me about the Northwest oil capabilities of Saskatchewan and how you feel these capabilities will essentially, again, cement Saskatchewan's position as an oil supplier for India and the rest of the world.
This is a tremendous opportunity for us to deepen our relations with many countries around the world, but in particular those in Asia, as we make more oil from my province in Alberta and British Columbia as well, available off the west coast of Canada. And that's a discussion that has some renewed vigor, and I think is very, very possible in the months and years ahead for us to expand that availability for the Asian markets. Understanding that as we utilize oil today globally, and we do need it today, and we see the challenges with some of the unrest in Western Asia or the Middle East today, the Canada can very much fill that void and become that trusted supplier as we increase our product available on the West Coast. And this is what's important. When it comes to oil that's produced around the world, it's not like products with respect to carbon content, with respect to, environmentally how it's produced. I'll provide you an example. We have a methane reduction initiative in Saskatchewan's oil industry as a whole, but in particular in the northwest part of our province, which would be the oil that would head to the west coast through Hardisty and through a pipeline out that way. They've reduced their methane emissions in that particular oil field by some 65% relative to 2015. And I don't know of another industry that has had a methane reduction plan that has been so successful in just the short period of a decade. And so, one is to have a high quality product. Two is to have it competitively priced. Three is to have a trusted trading partner that's going to provide that product year in, year out without hiccups or leverage coming into the equation. And then last, but certainly not least, is increasingly people want to know how that product is produced. And in the case of all Saskatchewan products, including our oil, it's some of the most sustainable from an environmental perspective product that you can find on Earth. And we're proud of that.
Yeah. Fantastic. I've also heard you say that Canada can certainly compete. You've just touched on it briefly. Talk to me more about this.
Well, we can, and we look forward to, and we embrace the opportunity to compete. And, we're not unlike many other nations, as we have a discussion as Canadians as to what our future looks like and how we're going to produce products, what we're going to produce, and where we're going to engage with those products. And we've been very open on all of those conversations or topics from a provincial perspective. And I think the future looks very bright for my province and our nation with diversifying the products we're producing, diversifying our markets around the world, and expanding on existing partners that we have. And as I said, India, from our province's perspective, has been our third largest trading partner for a number of years now. I think we have tremendous upside opportunity now that we see our national government starting to come to points of agreement and starting to really set the terms of, what the future looks like for trade between Canada and India. And I would point in that relationship is going to be the committed conclusion of the comprehensive economic agreement by the end of this year. That's a tremendous step, and that's a very ambitious timeline. And it was put forward by both prime ministers earlier this week. And so exciting times ahead for us to expand what I think is a very solid base of trade from Saskatchewan to India, but also to expand a much larger diversity of products that we are trading and scaling and partnering with India companies and providing benefits for people that live in India and people that live in Canada.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that about sums it up. If there's anything you could say to the people of Saskatchewan and India to essentially solidify the deal, like you just said, these are ambitious initiatives and goals, right? What do you believe the key ingredients are between interpersonal ties post 2035 to essentially seal the deal for longer periods of economic ties between India and Canada? Please.
Well, let's respect our differences, understand each of us has weaknesses, but let's focus on our strengths and points of agreement and move forward where we can.
Thank you so much for your time.
Take care.
I'm Rashawn Gidwani for NewsX World.